Yo. Yo, yo, yo. What's up, chat? Uh-oh. My dang on. What's up, chat? What's up, chat? Having a little technical difficulties right now. How y'all feeling? I'm a little tardy to the party. I gotta get my um I gotta get my TikTok folks right. I see yo my Niji. If you on TikTok, you see this thing is all messed up, so I gotta get done right. How y'all feeling today? uh, Give me just a second, guys. Having some slight technical difficulties on. How y'all feeling? I'm trying to see what's going on. There we go. Where you at, Dr. Sean? I've been enjoying your streams on Kick. I'm working on promo. What's going on? What's going on? Yes, I was frozen, guys. I'm trying to see where should I put the chat. I can't really see what you're saying. Yes, I came in this because my timer ran out and I was not ready to go live. But here I am. Nevertheless, ASIO, my Niji. ASIO, this is Dr. Chiefess Sunflower back with another Hood to Hooded podcast. And this is day 6 of 365. How y'all feeling tonight? Let me know where you're tuning in from. Edward Charles Reed Jr., hello. Clifford 2000 fan, hello. Kai Chesbra, hello. How y'all feeling tonight? We got a good lineup planned for us tonight, and as you can see from the title, we are going to go a little deep. I am well. Hello, Dr. Sean, checking in on my favorite dentist streamer. Woo, 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 woo. How many teeth did you evict this week? Listen, you know I'm always evicting the teeth that do not behave. Do not behave. That's an everyday thing, really. Always evicting teeth. So if you brushed and flossed your teeth today, I don't know what platform you on, but pump me some hearts. If you watching this on TikTok, hello to my TikTokers. I'm trying to get y'all right. Trying to get all my stuff together because right now I have too much going on. Too many screens open. All right. I had to get my little snacks because tonight's going to be a pretty long broadcast. Go ahead and grab you something to drink so we can dive in. Are y'all ready to dive in on this topic? So tonight is the anatomy of generational curses. And we going deep tonight into the anatomy of generational curses. So I'm just trying to set my screen up here. So I can see everything. There we go. There's a lot going on. I need to do one more thing. Where is my phone? Oh. Let me just check something. Hello. Come into the chat. Let me know where you're watching from. How you feeling today? This is the Hood to Hooded podcast. We on day 6. This is Dr. Chiefess Sunflower. What's the supporter goal thing I see on the screen? So I am trying to get past 4 subscribers on Twitch. I've been at 4 for a month. So I need the people who support me, even if you don't really prefer Twitch. Twitch is the best platform to interact with me live. There's a lot more features that you can use on Twitch. So go ahead and follow me on Twitch so I can reach my goal of 10 people. 10 people. I am streaming a lot of places tonight. So hello, Will Posadas on TikTok. Alrighty. I don't have Twitch, but I do support what you do. Thank you. If you support me on YouTube, that is just as good. Just make sure you are subscribed on YouTube or Twitch or whatever. Because I do both YouTube and Twitch. So either one is totally fine. Dr. Shane, do you have any kids? I do not have any children yet. No children yet. All right. So this is day 6 of the Hood to Hooded podcast, and we are going to be diving into a topic that is pretty deep. I've been thinking about doing this topic for a while, so make sure you are following. Make sure you go ahead and share this live, and make sure you are participating. Go ahead and get you something to drink. So I'm doing something a little different tonight, trying to be more creative, streaming more consistent, and letting you guys know when I will be live. So I don't know if you guys saw today, I posted in my stories on all of my social media platforms, so you can follow there. And let me see, I upgraded my stream with some command. I don't know if my command is working though. I don't think my command is working. I type a comment in the chat and it shows up screen 30 seconds after I press it. I'm not sure why that's happening for you on YouTube. And maybe that's one of the delays on YouTube, because I am streaming directly from Twitch. So I do have it set for 0 seconds. So if you're on Twitch, it'll show up instantly. If you're on other platforms, when you're watching me, it'll show up a little bit different. Okay? Braylon, I don't know what it is on TikTok. I don't know if those are real donations or what. I can't really tell. Technology freak show. Yeah, so I don't know what's going on with the platforms. But we gonna move right along. I just want to do one more thing before I dive into the segment. Give another couple minutes for people to come in. Alrighty. Let's go, fam. So I'm your host, dentist, entrepreneur, truth teller, and generational curse breaker, Dr. Chieftain Sunflower. And tonight we are getting deep. We're getting deep in the sauce. I want to talk about something that affects our minds, bodies, money, and our spirit. Okay? This is the anatomy of a generational curse, because I want to break it down to the nitty gritty. And of course, we don't have a whole bunch of time on this podcast, so I'm going to dive right in, and you can comment with your thoughts, your ideas, even if they don't agree with what I say. It's always good to express yourself so that we can understand how deep these generational curses go and how you can break generational curses. So let's break down what it is, where it came from, and most importantly, how we break the cycle. Okay? So, let's see if this is gonna work. Uh-oh, something happened. I don't know what happened there. Let's see. Okay. So I did something new. I tried to make like a little slideshow, but I don't really know how this is gonna work, but we're gonna keep it moving. I wanted to give you guys some visuals to go with the discussion tonight, but I don't know if this is too small. I don't really know how this is gonna work. Where am I gonna put this at? Where am I going to put this at? So what I'm gonna do is just leave this kind of small. This is just like little notes. You might can see it, maybe you can't. If you see this, please drop a like or a follow to support Dr. Sean's growth. Every bit of love helps. I already have. Yes, yes. Drop those likes, drop those comments. Everything that you do definitely helps me grow on this platform so that I can continue showing up. And I really appreciate it. Have you tried Google Slides? This is Canva Slides, so I have to figure out how to make it work smooth and show up. I'm thinking maybe I should make myself smaller and the slide bigger, but we're not gonna even stress about it tonight. What's most important is the message that we have for tonight. What is a generational curse? So a generational curse, it is not a fairy tale. Okay? It is not a superstition. It's real. It is repeated and it's often inherited before you're even born. So that's the thing about it, and that's why I talk about it a lot, because it's passed down from one generation to the next. And we must break the cycle, because if we don't break the cycle, we never achieve generational wealth, especially in neighborhoods or families where we are afflicted by poverty. Okay? It is trauma. It is a mindset. It is habits and pain passed down, sometimes in silence, sometimes in plain sight. You can't see people who are afflicted by generational curses because many of us who go through these things can be embarrassed. I mean, who wants to claim those type of negative emotions? But they are real. So many people hide it, and this develops into mental health problems. All right? So how do you know what is a generational curse and what does it sound like? What does it sound like? It sounds like that's just how when people say things like this. So tell me, have you heard these phrases before? Let's see. Tell me, have you heard these phrases before? That's just how it is in our family. When people say, oh, that's just how it is in our family. Oh, we don't talk about that. How many people you know have been, we'll say, molested by even people in the family, and they say, oh, we don't talk about that. That's just taboo. We don't even deal with that. These are things that create generational curses. And the Hood to Hooded podcast talks about breaking these things that people don't really discuss. Or they say things like, oh, we always been broke. We always been poor. That's just how our family is. They have a mindset to forever be poor. Meaning in the mind. This is not about the money, even though the money is nice, but it's all about what you have in your mind. Okay? What are you thinking about? Do you have a money mindset? Do you have a mindset to get knowledge? Because knowledge is power. Health is wealth. That type of mindset, right? Or it'll be like, nobody in this family ever made it out. How many of you come from those families where nobody ever made it out? And you like one of the first ones to graduate? Are you one of the first ones to take on a particular career path? Those are generational curses. That is not tradition. That is programming. So when you say things like this, when you speak these negative things, you are programming yourself to be stuck in a place of comfort. It may seem comfortable right now, but for your future, it is going to be stressful. Okay? It will be very, very stressful. And guess what? America profits off of our pain. I don't know why my slide looks like this. I don't know what happened. There we go. Still trying to get this crap together. I don't know why it's doing that. But anywho, America profits off our pain, our silence, and our survival mode. You see so many things going in the news now with the tariffs and they're cutting the Section 8 housing. They're cutting food stamps, Medicaid for the most underserved communities because America is all about profit. It's not about like equality or fairness, right? So those are generational curses, and I want to break it down a little bit further so you can really see what a generational curse is. Okay? So the generational curse from a Niji standpoint, which is an indigenous person to Turtle Island, copper tone, melanated person. A generational curse is not a superstitious concept. It is an intergenerational trauma, systemic oppression, and cultural erasure passed down through families as a result of colonization, racial reclassification, force, and land dispossession. Okay? The key things, there are 5 key things that you will find in generational curses. Colonial engineering is the first one. These curses are not mystical. They are man-made through genocide, schools, the Dawes Act, and reclassification from Niji or American Indian to Black or African American. The second thing is psychological impact. You lose your self-worth. You have an internalized inferiority. This is a feeling of like feeling less than. Soon as you see someone who's melanated, you feel like they want you to attach a negative connotation to your own self when you look into the mirror. Just think about how deep that is. Okay? There's number 3, economic and educational cycles. So poverty, limited access to land ownership, underfunding, and systemic barriers to wealth. So these things are constantly being pushed out into the equation that we live as Niji. Think about how many schools ban true history when it comes to melanated people. Think about redlining when they draw lines in unequally distribute land ownership and deny loans to people who are in underserved environments. Think about the inequalities for jobs and the inequalities for so many different areas of life. And with educational cycles, I always mention there's only 2 HBCU dental schools when there's over 70 PWI dental schools. That right there is economic and educational inequality. Generational curse fabricated into our own educational system. Number 4, spiritual suppression. Forcing Christianity, banning ceremonies, criminalizing language, and disconnecting us from our ancestral practices. Identity confusion. So many of us are confused about who we are because we have been reclassified as Negro, colored, black, and many Niji lost their legal recognition. This sounds like stuff I would hear in the church. You would probably never hear this in the church because the church is actually the opposite of what I'm talking about. Totally the opposite. Okay? So, let's break it all the way down. Let's break it all the way down. Let's break this thing down. There are 7 types of generational curses. Mental health curses, educational curse, financial curse, physical, spiritual, political, and historical that we are going to talk about today. So like I said, this live gets kind of deep. Because when I bring it, I'm going to go deep and I'm going to take it there so that we can really understand. And the first thing that we're going to be looking into is mental health curses, right? Who in the chat knows what a mental health curse is? A mental health generational curse. What is it? What is it? What is it? Mental curses are most likely the silent, deadly ones. These are the ones that people hide, the ones that they just keep to themselves a lot of the times. And in our community, we don't like to go to counseling. We don't like no type of counseling, a lot of us. There's a taboo against counseling. There's a taboo against even having mental health issues, right? But they exist, and these mental health curses exist to break your spirit, my Niji. They want to break your spirit. To keep you stuck in shame, fear, depression, anxiety. That's what mental health curses do. They keep you stuck. Okay? They keep you feeling ashamed of what you went through. They keep you feeling ashamed of the poverty. Like you're never going to escape it. Like you can't ever be something greater. They're rooted in what you saw, what you heard, and what was said. And that's what we internalize. These mental health dilemmas. Now that could be one of the hardest generational curses to break, is things that deal with your mindset. You have to be extremely unapologetic when it comes to you. That's where self-love comes into play. You got to love yourself, my Niji. You cannot stay stuck in shame about what happened in the past. You cannot sit in fear about the things that you don't know if you can accomplish, because you can do anything that you put your mind to. And I always say, failure is possible, but failure is not the end. It's absolutely not the end for you. It's just a little stumbling block, a little lesson. You know what I mean? It's just a lesson. That's all failure is. But guess what? When you look in yourself in the mirror and you get rid of those mental curses and you break free, nothing will ever be able to break your spirit again. So I need you to hold your head up high today, my Niji, and break these generational curses, especially the one that is mental. The thing about mental curses is they take awareness. So first, people have to be aware that they even exist, because if we stand in denial about things that bother us, then we can never heal from it. For instance, my childhood trauma of losing my mom at 8 years old, that created a mental health wound for me that has followed me for my entire life. Other things that I may have faced when I was young that brought fear, shame, depression, anxiety. You have to overcome these to achieve your greatness. You have to overcome these roadblocks to be successful. You cannot let them keep you in the same place forever. If you found yourself in the same place 20 years ago, something has to change, my Niji. You have to change something in your mind. You have to stop believing that you don't deserve more, because you do deserve more. But if you don't believe it, it won't happen. So you have to keep those positive vibes, keep that positive tribe, and know that anything is possible for you. You can start from zero and become the hero. You can start from hooded and become what? You can start from the hood and become hooded. Period. You can start in Tallahassee, Florida, and become anything you want. I'm just talking about my own personal story, but wherever your hometown is, you can start there and be anything. Right? So that's the mental health curse. Moving right along to educational curses. To educational curses. I really don't like the way my presenting is going with this thing, but we're going to keep it moving, chat. We're going to keep it moving. So educational curses, let's be real. School has never taught us the truth. So many students leave school and just end up working and quitting their childhood dream, or getting stuck in a job where it's just a job that you just hate. Not really a career, not really entrepreneurship, just somewhere that you just go every day that you don't like. How many of us have been there? I know I have been there at a job I just did not like. And when you get that feeling, you have to just move right along. But educational curses start that process of setting you up for failure, in a sense. In a sense. From jump, we were told that Christopher Columbus discovered something that wasn't lost. How does that work? Simba overcame his hurdles and achieved greatness, broke the mental health curse of the trauma from the loss of Mufasa and Scar, brainwashing him into thinking it was all his fault. This is why I love The Lion King. Exactly. Simba, the story of The Lion King, is a perfect example of these mental curses that can almost prevent you from living your best life, achieving success, overcoming all your obstacles, and holding your head up high and being proud of who you are, versus holding your head down, always failing, being scared to take the next step, being scared to invest in yourself, being scared to take risks, and not standing on business about who you are and what you desire in life. Nobody is coming to save you. You have to do this work yourself. Just like he said, Simba overcame those hurdles. He achieved greatness, and he broke the mental curse of a lie and the brainwashing that his uncle tried to portray to him. And that's how we have to be, like Simba, like the Lion King. Stand on business, baby. So again, Christopher Columbus, we were taught in school that he discovered something that was not lost. We were taught that he discovered America when America was already full of indigenous, melanated, copper tone people. Okay? They excluded melanin from science while they were teaching us our worth came from skin color, but didn't teach the power of melanin or the quality of it. Now, I find that particularly daunting from the educational system to teach you about colonization, slavery, all of these things, but not teach you how wonderful melanin as a pigment in your skin is, how magical your skin is, versus, oh, when you see this color, this is a bad person. When you see this color, this is a Nigga. When you see this color, this is somebody who was a slave. They teach us to associate a color with a broken spirit versus a color with science that shows that melanin has magical powers. People don't understand that melanin is something that scientists around the world have been trying to denature forever. It's the one secret they cannot replicate. They cannot denature. No matter what they try, they cannot unlock that magic. So when you can't unlock the magic, what you do? You say the magic ain't worth nothing. I be damned. But baby, when you know who you are, when you understand the truth, you'll understand why it's not taught in school, because it's empowering. It will empower so many Niji, indigenous, melanated, copper-toned children to know who they are. And that is a disgrace in America, in society. Just that one fact alone. So you can see where educational curses, with starting at something as simple as melanin, is a disadvantage in the school system. I would much rather know the powers that I possess when I just walk into the sun than the power that you possess by telling me that I'm nothing, that my skin is 3/4 of something, when it is magical. You can see the generational curse and how they put that there, right? Mufasa's ghost reminded Simba of who he was and the greatness he had. Simba thought he had lost his dad, forgot about him while doing Hakuna Matata with Timon and Pumbaa, but Rafiki said he lives in you. Mufasa's "remember who you are" speech was powerful and enlightening and motivating. Yes, I might even go find that speech. Remember who you are. That is so key, to remember who you are, because society wants you to forget who the fuck you are, my Niji. It wants you to just give up. It wants you to throw in the towel. It wants you to just be a worker and just to think that you came from nothing and that you can't be more and that you are not destined for greatness. But I need you to unlock these generational curses tonight and realize your power and your potential and how much wonderful goodness and magical, amazing DNA you have embedded within you. But you have to unlock that. No one else can do it for you. You have to stand on business and say, you know what? I'm lit as hell. And I can do anything I want to do. And I will not let life, all of the problems that I face, make me think any different. Whatever I lose, I did not need. I can get it back 10-fold, 100-fold, if I just stay positive and be optimistic and try every day and remember who the hell I am, right? The whole, if you see this color, that means this person is good or bad depending on the skin color. It's like Ivan Pavlov's experiment with the dogs. Exactly. That is so deep. A lot of people don't know about Pavlov's dog experiment. I know about this because I'm a science major and we learned about this. So what happened was, with Pavlov's dog, they trained the dog to salivate by hearing a bell without food. So the first they did research, they said, okay, we will ring the bell and the dog comes to get the food. So they did that for a while. Then they started ringing the bell without giving the dog food, and the dog still salivated. So it just means, like, they taught us to, when you see a black person, you automatically attach it with something negative. And that's not true. Look how many of us melanated people are doing great shit in the world, have been creating things for centuries and decades. But that is the stories that we erase, we cover up. Melanated people have been here on Turtle Island forever, and they cover it up. And it is a sad mistake by the United States government. It is a very sad mistake, because now we have the internet, we have social media, we can go back and read these things, They thought that, okay, if you tell somebody there's a ban on reading, or we gonna ban this book, people still gonna go and read. It's just like if you tell a kid not to do something, guess what they gonna go do? Do it. They're gonna go do it. When you say Christopher Columbus did something and you teach it in school and it's a lie, and we go and read the real truth, it debunks everything you said. So that's educational curses. And we can sit and talk about educational curses for a little minute, but they're put in place to keep you stagnant. That's why they don't teach financial literacy in school. Now, what educational system doesn't want to teach its students about how to manage money when the whole country is based on money? That is an educational system that wants to keep you stuck paycheck to paycheck, living in poverty, not knowing about credit, not knowing about business, not knowing about marketing, not knowing how the hell to escape the rat race. They don't want to teach people that. So now the students are the ones who are begging for these courses. In high school, if there was an option for me to do, say, pre-dental courses or financial literacy or business, I would have took those classes easy. But see, for me in high school, there was this program outside of high school. It was a non-profit where it was called About Face. And they would pay us $60 a week to come after school program to learn about business. So I did programs like that. I was always trying to, slice and dice and figure out how I can get the hell out of the hood. The Streisand effect. America's on some bullshit, period. They've been on that. So that's educational curses. How do we break educational curses, my Niji? Number one, self-education. After you get out of high school, you have a very basic pseudo-history level education about history. You don't really know about money. You know a bunch of stuff that you probably may not need if you don't go to college. Now you're going to work. You must make an effort to self-educate yourself and be a lifelong learner. Dentists, doctors, engineers, any of the medical professions, we are lifelong learners. Like, we have to learn for the rest of our life. And this should be for everyone. You should be learning at least about yourself, about love, about whatever your profession is or whatever you're interested in for life. Even if it's painting, gardening, just learn. Always be a learner so that your brain doesn't atrophy, so that you don't fall subject to like dementia, Alzheimer's disease. Because the more you learn, the more you grow. When you stop learning, you die like a plant. Because you're not watering yourself. You're not even pouring love and positivity in yourself. You hang around a bunch of nothings, people who not doing anything, and you get infected with the same type of energy. We cannot be infected with negativity and negative energy. People who sit around and talk about other people. People who sit around and hate on other people. People who don't have nothing going on for themselves but always got the advice for other people. We got to focus on our own self and our own business. We all trying to make it. But we have to focus on ourselves. Okay? I wish there was a Clifford emoji. That poop emoji looks funny on screen. You should make a Clifford emoji. That is funny. So to break the educational curse, once again, self-education. Unlearn the lies. Don't let these lies live in your head forever, because when lies are planted in seeds that aren't true or planted in your mind, they grow. And they don't grow to make you powerful. They grow to break your spirit. So you want to teach your children the truth outside of school, because school don't really teach us how to truly survive in life, how to truly make it. They don't really teach you about business. They don't teach you anything about success for real. If you think about it, does it? Like, did it? Or did it teach you how to go to work and work an 8 to 5 and sit down and listen to people? My mom had a saying, I will not be a lay around, no nothing. Period. We ain't doing that. Nah, we ain't doing that. Let's go to our next one. Financial curses. Bullshit is red dog shit. Oh! Duh. Ah, funny. All right, so financial curses. This is a big one, guys. I kind of touched on it a little bit with the uh, financial literacy, but financial literacy is either going to be a weapon for the needy, for melanated people, or it's going to be a curse. Okay? The wealth gap is no accident. This is on purpose. That's why the average melanated home, I say melanated, but most people say black, African American. I don't claim to be African American, but I used to be, so y'all get it. So I'm Niji, Dr. Chief the Sunflower. Don't get it twisted. American Indian, Choctaw, Creek, Muskogean. Did my genealogy. Don't play with it. But the financial curses, the wealth gap is no accident, especially when you come from the hood like me. That is on purpose. Okay? From stolen land to denied home loans to underpaid jobs, it was all built to keep us in debt, mentally and financially. Social media rewards creators even based on their skin color. Yep, there was a lot of drama going on TikTok about the inequality, right? So the financial curses are created because when you think about places like Black Wall Street and all of the places that were burned because the melanated people were being successful, then you can pretty much see through the BS. With Black Wall Street, that community was able to keep the dollar circulating in the community for almost 100 days. And no community, even up until this day, has broke the record of Black Wall Street. You want to know why? Because in that community, they had everything they needed to support one another. Hey, you need a haircut? I know somebody to cut your hair. You need a press? You need your hair pressed? I know a wonderful beautician. You need a cavity filled? I know a wonderful dentist. We call her Dr. Sean. If you need an article printed, we got a newspaper down the street. You need a plumber? I know a great guy. You need a locksmith? I know a business owner. Whatever you need, we got it. You need some cakes baked? I know a baker. You need a house built? I know an architect. Okay? You need a lawyer? I know a lawyer. It's like that. Yeah. You need a realtor? Oh, we got a realtor on deck. But nowadays, that no longer exists because the government doesn't want that. That's why they had to destroy it. Can you imagine what Black Wall Street would be today? The amount of generational wealth that would have created. But what happened was they got rid of it through military type force. And those people had to now depend on the government. But no community to this day has broke that record of keeping the money circulating for 100 days. As soon as we get the money now in our community, it's gone in a couple of hours because we don't own any businesses. And then when we do own businesses, it's so hard for melanated business owners to get their foot off the ground because we have to go through a lot of, remember the beginning when people look at your skin color and they automatically think negative? We have to deal with that because that has been pushed into society. So we have to deal with a lot of BS, right? A lot of red tape. And then if you lack the financial literacy, this is also going to be something that is going to hold you back. So financial curses are real, right? Even now to this day, the average melanated home makes less than $20,000 a year. The average white American home makes over $100,000 per year. So big wealth gap, huge wealth gap, but that is no accident, right? How do we break these financial curses? Well, we talked about one already, is teaching our children financial literacy. That is important. I think that it should be taught in school, but because it's not taught in school, it's up to the parents To not let your children go out here slacking and getting ripped off and signing deals and contracts and not being able to invest and allow their money to grow, right? So we have to budget. From any age, budgeting is important. Build. What are we building? I'm not talking about renting. What are we building? Invest. Learning how to invest in stocks, in real estate. Invest in something other than Jordans. Invest in something other than a Louis t-shirt. Invest in something other than some clothes. Invest in something that is going to give you a return on your money. Something we not taught in the hood. We got to invest in more than a cheeseburger for the day. We have to invest in more than, some hair. We got to invest in more than the nails. We got to invest in gold. We got to invest in silver. We got to learn how to get in the game with the stock market. We got to learn how to do these type of things. How are we saving up to get some land? Are we just going to be renting for 35, 45, 55 years? Let's just think about it. I just want to do the math real quick. Say we have 20 family members, right? And they're renters. And we're going to keep it low. We're going to say they paying $1,000 a month each. That's probably not very accurate. 20 people. So one person is paying $1,000 a month for 12 months. That person is paying $12,000 for the year. Now, this is really cheap compared to the rental markets is a little bit higher. I'm just trying to be modest. So if it's 20 of us doing that, that is $2.4 million that we all just blowing the hell away every month. Oh my gosh. So you wonder why we financially curse? Because this $2.4 million is going into somebody else's pocket. They're building generational wealth. Why can't we get together, put that $2.4 million together and build, invest, and grow in 1 year? So imagine if we've been doing this for, we're going to say just 10 years. How much have 20 family members who paying $1,000 a month? Just think about you and your cousins and whoever else don't really own a home. And just think about 20 people Now, that's $2.4 million for 20 of us. Now, 10 years, if nobody ever just said, okay, I got to get out of this rat race. That is 24. Oh, is that right? Hold on. I might have did the math wrong. Let me do my math over again. So 1,000 a month times 12. So one person paying 12,000. I think I did something wrong. And then that is times 20 people. So that's 240,000 for the year. And then that is, so I had it wrong. Not 2.4 million for the year. 240,000 for the year. And then if you do that times 10 years, that's 2.4 million that we have invested into nothing. Okay? 2.4 million over 10 years. So we can break it by building, investing, growing, learning group economics, stacking, and owning. Let's see. I think I got some comments here on TikTok. Let me go back. I studied business mathematics as well as consumer mathematics in high school. Wow. Yeah, thank you for that correction. So yeah, 2.4 million is over 10 years. That's how much 20 people will have invested if their rent is $1,000 a month over 10 years. But in 1 year, those 20 people have invested $240,000 into nothing. Well, they didn't really invest, they just threw it away. All right. And that's cool that you studied business, math, and consumer mathematics in high school. Do you feel like that helped you in your adult life by having those courses? I'm sure that it did. But do you feel like those courses were relevant once you got out of high school? So that is financial curses, something that we have to break. Okay, guys. Moving right along. The next one is physical curses. Let's talk about healthcare. For our people, healthcare is important, but it's also something that we're cursed about because guess what? We like soul food, man. Soul food. Back in the day, our people had to go to the vet for dental care because dentists weren't allowed to see them or they wouldn't see them. Okay? They had to go to the vet. So, and then also, people don't trust certain doctors because of the things that we found out in the news. There was just this report of this doctor who came out. He was giving chemo drugs to patients who did not need it, all for the sake of the dollar, all for the sake of capitalism. Now that's evil as hell. And chemo is no joke. I've had Lupron, which is a chemo drug, and it's poison. So to have to go through that and you don't really need it, and to be misdiagnosed on purpose, you know, that is terrible. Think about the Tuskegee study when they intentionally infected melanated indigenous, I would say, men with syphilis. And they had a cure for it, but they wouldn't give them the cure because they were trying to do some research. Yeah, they had penicillin. And a lot of these men suffered through blindness, all types of health issues. Now, those are physical curses. And I'm sure they even go on till now. We just had one in 2020 with the vaccine. There's a lot of people came out later about the side effects. And there's a lot going on with that, but it's not being talked about. And again, for instance, in dentistry, there's inequality even in dentistry. There's about 3% of melanated dentists for the 13% of our population. But at the same time, there's only 2 HBCU dental schools out of 70 plus dental schools. So you can see the inequality there. And that is not by chance. I think that is by choice. They don't want more of us to be in this profession. Chemo is no joke. The doctor who did that was on some dog shit. Period. A black woman invented a vaccine for COVID. Not surprised. I forgot her name. Just because people are melanated doesn't mean they have, you know, the best common sense. Alright? So, those are physical curses. So when it comes to your health, you have to take control of your health. Seek therapy. Set boundaries. Take care of your body. Get checkups. Be your own health advocate. And support healthcare providers in your hood who look like you if they're good. I do recommend that you vet all healthcare providers out and find somebody who you're comfortable with, because so many people have horror stories about dentists that I just can't believe. I mean, it's just so many of them. Dr. Makia Kezi Corbett. I have to look her up. So invest in your health and be your own advocate. Don't wait until it's too late. I see people who are afraid of the dentist. They wait until the problems get bigger and bigger and bigger, not knowing the bigger the problem, the less likely you can save the tooth. And if you can save it, the more expensive it will be. So it just works against you both ways if you wait. You don't like the dentist you went to, find another dentist. Don't quit on your teeth just because you don't like the doctor. Find another dentist. Or make sure you're brushing and flossing your teeth every day. Alright? The next one that we are going to talk about is the spiritual curses. So spiritual generational curses, they stripped us of our spiritual practices and called them evil, made us fear our ancestors, and replaced the connection that we had as Niji with control. So everything in this society is about control. And how do we break it? You break it by reclaiming your roots, meditating, praying, and connecting to your ancestors. All right? So you break it by, for instance, like I said, doing your genealogy. Doing my genealogy allowed me to see proof of who I came from, where I came from, who were my actual ancestors, my aunts and uncles, a lot of them who are still living and I never even met. All because my spiritual ability to connect to my ancestors was broken, and we can fix that. You can fix that. Okay, guys? You can fix it. Political curses. They taught us that voting was our only power, right? But ignored how political labels have kept us divided and distracted. I know that's a little too deep for some of us. Many of us were misclassified from birth. Niji, not black. We were indigenous. We're not African American. How do you break this? Political curses. Political curses are also a major factor in people not knowing who they are. Because everything that politics does is for you to stay in the voter system and pretend like you're getting something when both sides are not working in our favor. The government has sent billions of dollars overseas, and here the people here are fighting for just basic rights. They're fighting for basic help, and they can't get it. So the political curses are deep. They go so deep, and they started a long time ago. We don't have enough time to go into these, but if you go on YouTube, you'll see all of the things that are going on against melanated people. And I would like to just mention President Ibrahim Traore of Burkina Faso, how he is, breaking free from colonization and reclaiming their sovereignty. That is only a dream here in America, for us to be able to reclaim our sovereignty where we don't have to vote for a system that does not benefit us. We don't have to vote for a system that funds the police system that harasses us, criminalizes us, use our skin color as a way to target us. We pay for that with our taxes. And I just don't think that's fair. But we're not going to go too deep into the political curses, but they are there. And to break them, you have to research your identity, reconnect to your sovereignty, meaning connecting to who you are and controlling of yourself, and learn how law and policy affects our freedom. How does this affect our freedom? It does in so many ways, but we don't have enough time tonight to talk about it. But this is another part of the anatomy of generational curses. Number 6, which is a major one. Number 6 is historical generational curses. So they rewrote history, period. They started with slavery instead of royalty. They made our heroes villains and erased our stories from books. To break historical curses, we do a lot of that on this podcast. We touch on topics that most people are too scared to talk about. We touch on topics that most people find too taboo. They're comfortable with what was taught in school. They're comfortable with someone else telling them who they are. But here on the Hood to Hooded podcast, we want to break every type of generational curse, and we're going to break it down to the anatomy, to the DNA, to the RNA, to the mitochondria, baby, to the cellular level, to the biochemical level. Okay? So to break the historical curses, you got to study the truth. It may not be fun. It may not be easy. Some people may be like, I don't want to know all that. I just believe what I believe, and that's it. But if you are a true Niji and you really want to connect to your self-worth, you study these things. You teach your kids the truth, and you look in the mirror and you remember who you are. Like we talked about Simba looking into the mirror and remembering who he was. You got to look into the mirror and remember who you are on every level. We've been taught Thomas Edison invented the light bulb. It was actually a black man named Lewis Lattimore who did it. Period. That's another example of historical curses, something that has been whitewashed to make you think something that isn't true when it was actually a Nietzsche. We have so many inventions that have been whitewashed, taken from us, from the music. All parts of our culture have been whitewashed and taken from us. And it's not fair. It's not fair, guys. So these are the curses that we have to break to be successful, to just achieve any type of happiness. Especially when you come from the hood. You are the main one impacted by these curses. I was impacted by these curses. Still to this day. After hearing that, I wonder what other dog shit was fed in history class. Listen, history class, it just need to be banned, honestly, because they don't really teach you the truth. The truth is just, it would be too much for the youth. They wouldn't believe it. A lot of them would be in tears reading some of the atrocities that the government did. I was in tears a lot of the times reading some of the things that the government did. Pretty evil stuff. Evil. All right? Pretty evil stuff, guys. So, what can you do today to continue breaking these atrocities on your mindset, on your goals, on your dreams? How can you overcome these terrible things? What can you do today? Number one, identify one limiting belief you inherited and replace it with the truth. Write it down, burn it, speak new life over yourself. For instance, a lot of people think they're African American. That is one limiting belief that most people believe, that you got to research and know the truth. Know who you are and replace it with the truth. If you don't do that, then you will forever be stuck in a pseudo world and stuck in the matrix. That bit about Simba looking into the waters to see Mufasa's spirit living inside of him reminds me of Michael Jackson's song, Man in the Mirror. The bit about making a change. Yeah, we have to make a change, but they haven't made a change yet. It seems like everything is going in reverse, not forward. People are still not catching on to who they are and what all this means and how we play into this system. Number two, do 5 minutes of silence with yourself every day. Sit down with yourself, pray, meditate, reconnect to your spirit. Go outside in the sun. Unfortunately, New York, where I am, don't have no damn sun for 8 months, so, ain't nothing you can do about that. But if you got some sunshine outside, you already blessed. But meditate, reconnect to who you are. Don't let this world have you so stressed the hell out that you give up. You just get in your feelings and you just give up on life. You just give up. Don't get there. Do some meditation. Number three, create a simple budget. Track every dollar. Own your money story. Start investing. Learning how to invest in something. Okay, I remember a Boondocks episode where Huey was doing a Christmas play about Black Jesus. The white people weren't for it. Huey didn't care about Christmas, knowing the origins of it. Right. Yeah, I don't care for Christmas either because of the origins of it. I did a whole YouTube video on it because I wanted to know the history. So the thing with me, and people might think that I just hear something and run with it. No. I'm going to go research it. Research it from the A to the Z, from the rooter to the tutor, baby. Listen, Christmas, I did a whole video on it. Not enough time to go into it here, but when I find a topic that I know there is an educational curse on it, I go and research it. I try to find the oldest information I can about this topic. And a lot of things I discover just lead me to believe that this don't have nothing to do with me. Like Christmas, nothing to do with me. Nothing to do with me. Once I discovered Santa Claus and all of that stuff, nothing to do with me. That's why I made a whole video on it on YouTube. So if you want to check that out, go check it out. But yeah, You know, you got to break these different curses. Number 4, read one article on real indigenous history. Look up Niji. Look up who was really here first. Just like you mentioned about the light bulb and how they told us that it was invented by Thomas Edison when actually it was Lewis Lattimore. Okay? So you got to go and read the real history, because if you don't know, you'll be thinking that we didn't do nothing. You'll be thinking that you don't have no ties to greatness. And say this out loud, my chosen ones, my generational curse breakers. I want you to say this out loud. I am a generational curse breaker. My life will not look like my trauma. Woo! Snap it up. Snap it up. Snap it up. I am a generational curse breaker. My life will not look like my trauma. That's why people look at me and they think they're looking at they think they're looking at this dentist who's always had it together, who had it laid out with a roadmap and a blueprint. That's because my life, the life that I created, the mindset that I have now, don't look like my trauma. Woo! It don't look like my trauma, y'all. It don't. I refuse to allow my life to look like my trauma. Yes, I use the trauma for inspiration and motivation, to let other people know that anything is possible. But my life, it don't look like my trauma. But the trauma is a part of the story that got me here. Those sad days, those days of crying and feeling defeated and like a failure, those are the days that got me here. You should watch that episode. Oh, there was a scene where Huey broke down to his grandpa, and the grandpa wasn't into all of that. To him, it sounded like wah, 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 like something out of Charlie Brown. I would have to know the name of the episode. Okay? You are powerful. You are chosen. And you are not waiting until you are 75 to be free from generational curses. Like, how long you gonna wait? How long? You could be a millionaire this year. You could build your legacy this year. But it starts with your mindset. You don't need to wait until you're 75 to retire to have $1 million. It's a mindset. This money is not real. It is a game. What are you going to do today to set yourself up for success? What are you going to do? There are so many stories out here about people who got laid off and became a millionaire the same year. But if they had not have gotten laid off, they would have worked that job, retired, and never took that risk to be something or to be everything they knew they already could be, but they counted themselves out. We got to stop counting ourselves out, because these generational curses, they are here to attack your mind, your body, your spirit, your life, your mental health, your emotions, and to break you down like a freaking piece of paper. They here to just break you down like a crumbled piece of paper. They here to make you feel like this. Let me see. They here to do you like this. This is you. This is what these curses do. They ball you up until you're nothing, and they spit you out. That's what happens. You know? We don't have time for that. So you got to break those today, my Niji. All right. The episode was titled "A Huey Freeman Christmas." I think I saw the episode. Aired December 18, 2005. Quincy Jones in it. Lots of Charlie Brown references in it. I will definitely check that out. A Huey Freeman Christmas. Freeman is another word that they use to describe Indian. Copper tone Indian. Niji. Freeman. Yep. Definitely will check that out. That reminds me kind of like The Simpsons, how they always have those historical references in like a slick type way. All right. So yeah, guys, those are the anatomy of generational curses. Okay? That is the anatomy of generational curses. And I feel like there are more than what I mentioned here. I'm sure there are. I'm sure there are a lot more than what I just talked about. A lot more. So what other ones can you think about? Put them in the chat. What other ones can you think about? I want to see if my chat commands work. I don't think they do, but I'm still growing on this dang on chat, y'all. I'm still figuring it out one day at a time. So just to recap on the 7 types of generational curses that are included in the anatomy of these things is mental health, educational, financial, physical, spiritual, political, and historical. And I'm sure we could think of many, many more. But this is just a start to let us know all the things that we have to overcome as Niji, as melanated people of Turtle Island, just to be great. Some of you may deal with one of these, none of these. Some of us may deal with all of these. In my lifetime, I have interacted with all of these different type of generational curses. And they have all been a way for me to kind of have an excuse, but you can't live on these excuses. You can't let none of these things hold you back. Know that they exist, but know that you can overcome every single one of them unapologetically. Okay? And we moving on. Now, I want to do a quick oral health moment just to change the vibe a little. Oh, man. Okay, I'm back. So Columbus discovered America. Indigenous people lived there for thousands of years. Leif Erikson reached North America in 1000 AD. I guess Aaron McGregor knew what he was doing when he made this cartoon. Yes, indigenous people live here for thousands of years. Thousands. So for this quick oral health moment, I want to talk about what's up with fluoride. I see Florida banned fluoride, and it's been in the news a lot. People have been wondering what is up with fluoride. Okay. So what is up with fluoride, guys? Everybody's talking about it. It's on the menu. Let's get into it from a dentist perspective. All right. So, 10 facts about fluoride. The benefits and the controversies. Let me step back a little bit. So, fluoride is a natural mineral. It is found in soil, water, plants, and even rocks. And it's also added to many dental products and some public water systems. So it's a mineral. Fluoride helps prevent tooth decay. It strengthens enamel by remineralizing areas that have started to decay, especially in children and teens. So when fluoride was not included into the water, they noticed that children got a lot more cavities. Okay, but when they started to incorporate it into the water, the cavities decreased. But some people feel like it is dangerous and it can cause toxicity. He said, Emancipation Proclamation free all slaves. That decree from 1863 only applied to Confederate states. Slavery persisted in border states until the 13th Amendment, 1865. And that is another part of colonized history, because the census bureaus that I have for my family show my family free. So, yeah. We don't even have time to dig into that tonight. But I will dig into that another day. Because we just got to go back to the history and understand a lot about that time period. Because there's a lot of pseudo history going on in the 1800s to try to reclassify American Indian to slaves and Negro and all of these different things. But, so number 2, fluoride helps prevent tooth decay. Number 3, most toothpastes contain fluoride. The ADA, or the American Dental Association, recommends fluoride toothpaste for both adults and kids to prevent cavities, right? Number 4, fluoride is added to many public water supplies. In the United States, about 73% of the population receives fluoridated tap water. The CDC calls this one of the greatest public health achievements in the 20th century. But Florida, my home state, has seemed to want to get rid of fluoride. I think it's going to create massive cavities, especially if people don't brush and floss and they don't have immaculate oral hygiene, which as a dentist, I know most people don't. I would veer to say about 85% of people do not have immaculate oral hygiene. 85. It's probably like more towards 90%. That's because 73% of the population does receive fluoride. So those people have less chance of developing cavities. The issue is too much fluoride can cause dental fluorosis, a condition that causes white spots and streaks on the teeth, particularly when you're swallowing too much fluoride in childhood. That can be from like toothpaste, things like that. So there are so many people who are skeptical about fluoride. Some health advocates believe that excess fluoride may lead to health concerns such as bone fragility, thyroid issues, or neurological effects. Though research is ongoing and findings are debated. So we had a dilemma where does the good outweigh the bad? Are teeth important, or, you have to make a personal decision? All right. Bottled water may not contain fluoride. Most bottled waters don't contain fluoride. So people who only drink bottled water might miss out on the protection of fluoride. Fluoride treatments are common in dentistry. We do fluoride treatments often, especially at 6-month checkups, just to give you another layer of protection. We apply fluoride gels and varnishes to high-risk patients, especially those that are prone to gum disease and cavities. Number 9, children need smaller amounts of fluoride. Too much fluoride early in life can be very harmful. We talked about fluorosis. That's why pediatric dentists recommend only using a rice or pea-sized amount of fluoride toothpaste for toddlers. Really like a rice-sized amount. So very little. So don't let your toddler squish a whole bunch, because that can do damage to their teeth later on in life. Number 10, you can filter fluoride out of your water if you do not want it. If you're concerned about overexposure, reverse osmosis filters or specialized water filters can reduce fluoride levels in your drinking water. All right. So that was our little oral health care moment. I would recommend that you do use fluoride toothpaste, but if you have younger children, just make sure you're watching the amount, especially if you're prone to get cavities. And if you're concerned about overexposure to fluoride, just get a water filter. And always talk to your dentist to see what is best for you and your kids. But I want you to stay aware, stay healthy, and continue to shine. And make sure you're brushing and flossing your teeth every single day. Okay? Let's see. What's going on with the chat? What did I miss? Rosa Parks. Hold on. Let me see what I missed. I'm about to change my music real quick because I don't like that song. We gotta go. All right, what did I miss in the chat, guys? Give me a second. Let me get ready. Give me a second. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Alrighty, so the chat says Rosa Parks was a tired woman who refused to give up her seat. She was a trained activist, and her refusal was strategically planned as part of the civil rights movement. I feel like stories about your dental patients or some dental tips or tricks could really take off. People would love that kind of stuff, doctor. Marie Antoinette said, let them eat cake. No evidence suggests she actually said this. It was likely propaganda to make her look insensitive. And I seen another comment up here. Hey, Doc, have you thought about clipping parts of your streams into shorts or TikToks? Yes, I actually do clip all of my streams into shorts or TikToks. It just takes me a while because they are so long. I'm actually a couple days behind with the clipping. I am a one-woman show here. So right now I'm mostly still getting the consistency part together. So that's why I tell you guys a lot that I am... Uh-oh. Hold on. One moment. I am, focusing on consistency. I think that's the most important thing for me. Once I start adding all the restrictions, like tonight, I did this live with a topic focused on the anatomy of generational curses. But when I do it like that, you see how many technical difficulties I have. So that kind of makes me kind of shy away from consistency. So with me showing up here on Twitch, I just want to be consistent. Even if I show up here just to vibe and talk, that's already meeting my goal. I just like to give my community some helpful feedback when it comes to who we are, some helpful feedback when it comes to oral hygiene, and just staying positive and just staying uplifted in the spirit and just answering your questions. So it's mostly just a chill vibe, but I definitely turn these lives into replays for my Hood to Hood podcast, which is on Spotify, Apple, all of those different things. I also repurpose the content for YouTube, so I create videos, replays without all of the ums and the fuck ups, and I also do shorts. So that's a lot of extra content that I have every time I go live. So I'm still learning and trying to find a way to streamline all of this, but you cannot make excuses. So that's my thing. I don't want to make excuses and just get it done, because action over fear and action over excuses. Okay? And I definitely will incorporate more dentistry into these. Every time I try to do a little bit of dentistry. But if y'all think people will like more dental topics, definitely ask some questions. Leave me some questions and let me know what y'all want me to talk about on these Hood to Hooded podcasts, because I'm open to suggestions. Long as it focuses on, building success, financial literacy, getting it out the mud, overcoming nothing, coming from nothing, just being positive, achieving generational wealth, growing, Oral hygiene. That is the purpose of this podcast. I don't limit it to one particular subject, but I do try to keep it in the arena of just growing. Period. Use Nexus clips. Use AI to determine the clips from your long form videos that will go viral and selects them for you. Doc, what is trench mouth? So Nexus clips. Cause I use something called what is it called? I think it's called Opus Clips. So Opus Clips kind of does that. It uses AI from the videos that I chop down. So if this is like right now, hour and 30 minutes, I would chop this down into like a 30-minute podcast. And then I'll use that 30-minute podcast to put into Opus Clips. And Opus Clips gives me like 20 clips. And then I have to decipher between those clips. So it's a lot of behind the scenes that goes into streaming and trying to build an audience, because I only have 4 followers on Twitch, guys. Someone go and help me out. What are your thoughts on the sitcom Good Times? Oh my Lord, man. My thoughts on the sitcom Good Times. Oh no, I'm thinking about the Jeffersons. I never really watched Good Times like that, but I did have an addiction to the Jeffersons like 2 years ago. I watched the whole season from episode 1 all the way to the end, because I found it interesting to see George Jefferson be this hood ass melanated man running a dry cleaning business, and he just was unapologetic. I was like, whoa, I didn't think people was like this back then, but this is why pseudo history exists, so you don't think that people own businesses and dry cleaners and they had success and they was up there with the upper echelon. So I was a really heavy on George Jefferson. The Jefferson, that was my show. Good Times, I never really watched that, or I can't remember it that much from Good Times. All right. So you asked about trench mouth. All right. So trench mouth is known as necrotizing ulcerative gingivitis, or NUG, and it is a serious and painful gum infection. All right, caused by the buildup of harmful bacteria in your mouth. So just like I said, if you don't brush and floss and get your checkups and get your decay and things like that filled, and you're just letting your mouth breed bacteria, then it leads you to have different types of infections. Trench mouth. The origin of the name trench mouth derived from World War I, when soldiers in the trenches developed severe gum infections due to poor oral hygiene, stress, and malnutrition. So poor oral hygiene, which is something people deal with now. Stress, how many people are stressing? And how many people are not eating properly? Well, they had bad nutrition, but how many people have malnutrition nowadays? People just eat the wrong things nowadays, like sugar, soda, candy, a lot of sweets. So you won't get trench mouth per se, but you'll get periodontal disease. All right. So what was some symptoms of trench mouth from these soldiers in World War I? So they was in the trenches fighting, and they had pain in the mouth. Have you ever had a toothache? Can you imagine being in battle and you got a toothache? Your whole mouth is irritated. Like if I get one little sore in my mouth, I feel like I'm about to go crazy. I'm like rinsing with Paradex mouthwash and like, oh dang, like if you cut your gum and it gets sore, it's so irritating. I can't imagine being in World War I, not brushing my teeth, not flossing, not having access to a dentist, not being stressed the hell out because you got people trying to kill you, and you can't even eat properly because you at war. So your mouth is also a problem. Okay? That's the thing about it. When it comes to oral hygiene, this impacts all of us from all walks of life, from soldiers to the teachers to the preachers. Okay? So some symptoms of trench mouth was severe gum pain, bleeding gums. All of this sounds like periodontal disease. Severe gum pain, bleeding gums, even without brushing. Grayish and yellow film on the gums. That's just plaque and bacteria that has pretty much started to probably like almost mold in your mouth. Bad breath, halitosis, very bad breath from the bacteria, ulcers and craters, because now this bacteria is destroying your gum and all of your tissues. You get a metallic taste in the mouth, and swollen lymph nodes and fever because this infection starts to spread. That's the thing about oral hygiene and oral health care. It can spread to other parts of the body, that bacteria, especially if you have heart issues, diabetes. Poor oral hygiene can exacerbate those symptoms and put you in a world of stress and have your mouth like aching where you can't eat, you can't think, you can't sleep, you can't breathe, you can't love, you can't do shit but be in pain. Okay? So they was in them trenches crying, baby. They was like, oh my Lord. The causes, again, we said poor oral hygiene, high stress, smoking, malnutrition, and weakened immune system. Stress automatically weakens your immune system, so it makes you susceptible to many more diseases and things like periodontal disease. Not trench mouth because you're not in the trenches, but kind of the same thing. The only thing is you have access to a toothbrush, to floss, so you can keep your teeth cleaner than if you were in war. So who is at risk for trench mouth? Teens and young adults, people under extreme stress, those with poor oral hygiene habits, individuals with weakened immune systems like HIV, AIDS, and cancer. So it takes a plethora of things for you to get trench mouth, to have that type of pain. And this is caused by an overgrowth of anaerobic bacteria such as Fusobacteria and spirochetes that thrive in the absence of oxygen. I kind of want to pull up a picture of Fusobacteria and spirochetes, because spirochetes, they look like little worms. So disgusting. So if you don't brush and floss your teeth, oh my goodness, it's just like, what? Is it contagious? While black bacteria can be shared through saliva, trench mouth itself usually occurs because internal imbalances. So not directly, but you can transmit this bacteria from their mouth to your mouth. If you kissing somebody and they got the trench mouth and they got ulcers, you might not want to do that. You might want to help them try to get that situation under control before you start swapping spit. You know what I'm saying? Treatment. Professional dental cleanings. They probably need a scaling and a root planing, where they have to be numbed up to even remove this type of infection and calculus and bacteria. They're going to need antibiotics, antimicrobial rinses like chlorhexidine, mouth relievers, anti-inflammatory meds, and most importantly, improve oral hygiene and lifestyle changes. And they can come back with poor oral hygiene, stress, and smoking. So how do you prevent trench mouth? It's easy, guys. What do I tell you to do every day? Brush and floss your teeth. Go to the dentist regularly to prevent these issues from growing out of control. Reduce your stress. Don't be letting people stress you the hell out. Stop smoking, especially nicotine, and eat a balanced, nutrient-rich diet. Stay away from the freaking vapes. Stay away from the freaking Mountain Dews and the sodas. Stay away from the candy, guys. Keep the kids away from the candy, because the candy trying to... What are the long-term effects of trench mouth? If untreated, trench mouth can progress into necrotizing periodontitis or systemic infections like we mentioned earlier. Issues with your heart, your lungs, all of that stuff, your kidneys. What is the chat saying? That was a great question, chat. What is the chat saying? You like the Jeffersons. Cool. Wiloma from Good Times did the theme song for the Jeffersons. Oh, I didn't know that. JJ, Fred Sanford, Aunt Esther from Sanford and Son was parodied in the Boondocks episode, The Hatocracy. Any thoughts on the Cosby Show? Ooh, I haven't watched the Cosby Show in so long, but as a little girl, I definitely watched it. But I haven't watched any reruns. Calculus. I didn't know that was a dental disease. Calculus is not a dental disease. Calculus is just plaque on your teeth that has gotten hard. It turns into calculus. All right, so calculus itself is not a disease. It's just parts. If you don't get rid of the calculus, then you can get periodontal disease. But calculus itself is not a disease. Okay, but I want to show y'all. I want to pull up an image of Fusobacteria, and so you can see kind of what the bacteria looks like when you have these infections. You know what I mean? Maybe it'll help us brush our teeth better. So this is a Fusobacteria, what you see on the screen here. All right. So you see how it looks like little worms. So this is what grows out of control when you have trench mouth. Let's see a colony of it. So this is how it looks when they colonize this bacteria in the lab. This is how they look. Now let's go to spirochete. These little nasty bugs. They're just like little worms. Okay, go back. What is going on here? What's going on, guys? 1 second. So you can see all these are spirochetes. They look like little squiggly worms. So when you don't brush and floss your teeth, you actually have living microorganisms that grow out of control. Okay? And they lead to trench mouth. Now, if you're not used to this type of imagery, but this is examples of trench mouth. You know, here is actually a soldier right here with trench mouth. So make sure you brush and floss your teeth, guys, because you don't want to have this type of issues going on where you have the redness of the gums, the inflammation. This patient has some recession here at the gum line where they're losing the bone that support the teeth, so you can see more of the root of the teeth. I'm sure they're having all types of sensitivity to hot and cold, and they have this bacteria, and the ones that I just showed you just hiding under the gum line, causing the immune system to overreact and try to fight off this infection. There's so much going on when you have these diseases, and they lead to issues with other parts of your mouth. So if your mouth is like this, you definitely want to get into a professional before these bacteria continue to destroy your teeth. Okay? Now you asked me about calculus. So calculus, not this type of calculus. Not this type of calculus, Google. That's not what I'm talking about. So let's put in dental calculus to be more specific. Dental calculus. So this is calculus, not a disease, but you can see how it causes diseases, like periodontal disease. You see that calculus here at the gum line. So if you don't brush or you don't go to get this removed with a professional, it leads to bone loss and tooth loss. This is a more severe form of calculus. This is probably years of neglect, being afraid of the dentist. A lot of people who have dental anxiety, they avoid the dentist, and they don't know that their teeth start to look like this. It starts to feel like your teeth, but this is just a colony of bacteria, like those spirochetes or those Fusobacteria. That's all it is. Well, it's their toxins, what they release. It's not actually them, but when they, you know, utilize the sugar in your mouth, they produce acid and it leaves the byproduct like this. So it's kind of like bacteria poop on your teeth, I guess you could say. And it can get pretty out of control like this. Okay? That's calculus. Alright? So enough with all this dental stuff, because we can go deep with the dentistry. It said trench mouth is nasty. Ew. Ew, and double ew. Well, as a dentist, I see these things quite often. And for me, I don't look at it as like ill. I look at it as, wow, this is a moment for me to educate this patient, to let them know the status of their mouth and what it's going to take for us to resolve the situation, which teeth can be saved, which teeth cannot be saved, or do they need a full mouth extraction due to mobility. So me as a dentist, seeing a patient like this, okay, now this is a moment to educate this patient. This is a moment to let them know how important their teeth are, because you want to try to save the teeth, but it takes education so that they know how important it is for them to show up for the appointments. It's important for them to brush and floss every day. Even if your mouth doesn't look like this and you have gingivitis, it could get like this because you just simply don't floss. So you must floss and brush your teeth, preferably with an electric toothbrush. All right, but once it gets to that type of stage, really the only person that can take that off is a dentist. You can't really take that off at home. But if you never go to the dentist, it just pretty much destroys your mouth. All right? All right. Any more questions in the chat? Let me know. I'm about to snack on me some sushi. Sushi. If you on TikTok, pump those hearts. My Facebook chat has been so quiet. Any thoughts on the PBS Kids show Cyber Chase? Never saw that. Never even heard of it, actually. There is a character on the show named Jackie, a black girl. When she gets grossed out, she says, ew, ew, double ew. Never heard of that. I don't really watch too much TV, but I do peek in from time to time. I do peek in from time to time. Any more questions? Any more thoughts tonight before we end this Hood to Hooded podcast? It's been great chilling with you all, learning about these generational curses. I know it's Saturday night, so a lot of people will watch this on the replay. And if you watch this on the replay, make sure you go head over to my Twitch and go subscribe. You kind of look like Jackie a little bit. I had to go make sure. Let me go see how Jackie looks. I thought I added my commands to my chat, but Something is not right. Oh, there's my Nightbot. I did it. We do have dang, how Streamlabs told me to stop posting links and I'm the one doing it. I gotta fix that. Stop posting links warning. What? That's crazy. So we do have the Hood to Hooded merch. That is the link on the screen. I'm also gonna put hashtag, what's some other commands that I made up for my stream. Let's see if it's gonna do it. Cyber Chase is a math-based show. WNET made a pilot back in 1999, but the show didn't air until January 2002. You know a lot about these shows. How do you know so many shows and their dates? I'm trying to see if all of my... Okay. What other commands did I put in here? Let me see. While I'm live, I want to just see if my commands work. So you can use some of these commands. I'm still working on it, trying to figure out, you know, the Twitch life. I had a Discord command. I had a socials. I had a merch command. A welcome command. Oh, this is the one that I want to try. I watched these shows growing up. I want my Prime to command to work. So, I got it to work. So, if you have Amazon Prime already, right, you can subscribe to my Twitch channel for free. All you have to do is click that link and use your Prime to subscribe to any Twitch channel you want. But you can click that link and subscribe to my Twitch channel for free. Okay, so I need all of my people who have Amazon Prime to go ahead, click the link, and help a sister out. All right. I think I'm on here just yapping now. I like to try to test all these widgets out while I'm live because when I'm creating it, I don't know how to test it out. Maybe there's a way to do it, but I don't know. Let me see what other widgets I made that I could test out before I leave, guys. Oh, yeah. I made a tips widget. And I made a wish list widget. So all of my commands work. Yay! Let me test my other command too. Yay! So I learned how to make commands today on Twitch, guys. Woo woo! Dr. Sean in the house. Listen, I'm turning into a streamer right before your very eyes. Hey, right before your very eyes. Hey. Because a lot of these things, it be like rocket science. So what I'll do is I go to YouTube University, I'll study it, and then I try to do it myself. Because I see other streamers have these different like widgets and things like that. So I'm like, oh, I need to add that to my stream. So I'm so proud of myself. So proud. So yeah. I'm about to get out of here, guys. Tomorrow I will be back live for another episode of the Hood to Hooded podcast. And we gonna be on day 7 again. Hey, hey. What are your thoughts on That's So Raven? Hey. I really used to like That's So Raven. That was a really cool show. Yep. That was a cool show. Yep. That was a cool show. Haven't watched it in a long time, so I don't remember any episodes. Hey. Let me stop. But yeah, that was a cool show. Tomorrow, I don't know what we're going to talk about. It's Sunday, so we'll probably have a very light broadcast. I don't know if I will be broadcasting on Facebook again because, you know, Saturdays are my Facebook days. So if you're on Facebook, make sure you come over to Twitch. Make sure you use your Amazon Prime to subscribe to my channel. And I can see all of my followers, so I know all 4 of them. And we just gonna take it a day at a time. Y'all, I'm so proud of myself. Yay. Alright, enough of that. I'm about to get up out of here. About to get up out of here. About to get up out of here. Alright, let's go over some final thoughts before we get up out of here, guys. Thank you, Clifford 2000 fan, for being a loyal supporter. I really appreciate it. Who else dropped by? I know it's really late. Zach B dropped by. And anybody else who is watching the replay, vibing to the beat. Hey, I'm always vibe to the beats. Okay, so this is our final motivational push before we get off of this Hood to Hooded podcast for tonight, guys. So change starts with how you see yourself. Okay, I'm talking to you. Yes, you. Okay? Change starts with how you see yourself. So let's change that image of how you see yourself. Let's update your reflection that you see in the mirror. When you look in the mirror and you see yourself, I want you to think that you are powerful, wonderful, amazing. You're not broken. You are becoming. Let me say that again. You are not broken. You are becoming. They might call you crazy for dreaming big. They might question your history for speaking the truth. But crazy is just what they call people who break the rules and rewrite the future. So stay consistent, my Niji. Stay curious and stay dangerous. And let's build this thing together. All right. So make sure you are following me daily on Twitch for the Hood to Hooded podcast. Subscribe, share. If you got Amazon Prime, connect it and support the stream for free. Okay? Join the Discourse and follow my stories for live times. Let's break every chain and build something our kids and our future will be proud of. All right, my Niji. And before I leave here, I decided that in my stories on my social media platforms, I will be posting the time that I go live for that day. That's the best I can do with the timing because I don't want to lock into a specific time. So if you're following me on the socials, you can know when I'm going to go live because I will let you guys know about 3 to 5 hours ahead of time. All right? When you get the time tomorrow, watch The Lion King again. I just watched The Lion King probably a couple weeks ago. Maybe I didn't watch the whole thing. Oh, no. I watched Mufasa. But yeah, I love The Lion King. And I don't know if I have for that. So thank you to that organization. Yeah. I think that's it, my Niji. Is one more quote that I'm going to leave y'all with that I thought was really lit from tonight. Where did I put my quote? Can't find it right now. But yeah, I'm out of here, guys. Adios. Peace out. Enjoy your nights. I think I went for 2 hours today. So yay! This is probably the longest I've been on here in a minute. But I'm out.